Well, what was your reaction to this? He had been ill for some time.
Yeah, this is more than a passing of a CEO. He transformed the company, the industry, and world at large. And his accomplishments will be viewed in a positive light when compared to other legendary figures like Thomas Edison and Henry Ford. What makes his life larger than life literally is his background. A kid who was given up for adoption, went to read college, dropped out of college, and as he pointed out, his only weekly free lunch was at the Hare Krishna temple in Oregon when he was going to read college, and then he goes to India, finds his soul, and comes back and transforms the world as we see it.
Well, we've had the Samsung chief executive also just send his condolences here as well. Bill Gates has been talking about Jobs' legacy going to be felt for generations. That's something I'm sure that you probably agree with.
Yes, Bill Gates was more of a technologist, and I think Steve Jobs was more of an artist. And Michelangelo of our period, he lived in the intersection of technology and arts, as he put it, and he transformed in many industries with his unique products, the music industry with the iPod, the cell phone industry with the smartphone, with the iPhone, and more recently the entertainment industry with the iPad. And even preceding that, of course, he acquired the animation business of Lucas and transformed that into Pixar, which is considered the cornerstone of the animation industry today. So I think he's had multiple home runs, and that's why he stands apart in many ways.
Where does this leave Apple itself? I mean, to some extent you can say that the DNA of Apple was Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was Apple, and Apple was Steve Jobs.
Absolutely. I think that DNA is very much intact. So at least the current generation of products that are in the pipeline, the iPhone 5 and the iPad 3, which will roll out next year, will bear his imprint. But beyond that, I think it remains to be seen. And again, once again, the halo effect, the X factor that made the whole greater than the sum of the parts, I think that will be missing. But he does leave behind a deep bench at Apple, and I think a proven leader in Tim Cook that the Apple employees do respect.
It's quite telling that it was Apple itself which told the world about his death and not the family, and I think that probably goes to what you're talking about now. I mean, what about the next generation of managers here? I mean, you say we have Tim Cook, of course, yesterday announcing the iPhone 4S. Now, has he left Apple in good hands, in your opinion?
Absolutely. Unlike HP, which has seen 6 CEOs since the late 90s, I think the brilliance of Steve went beyond the product side. I think he groomed Tim Cook for the better part of last decade, and Tim is well respected by the employees, by the ecosystem. He doesn't have the flash of Steve, but I think in terms of getting the job done and making sure that the key executive team stays intact, I think he's well suited to that job.